Hello everyone, welcome back to Algebra 51, where we study the mysteries of algebra. Today we're going to talk about, in section 1.6, we're going to talk about solving linear inequalities. Now we've worked with linear equations, now we're going to talk about ones that are not equal, inequalities. And we're going to start by looking at a little bit of vocabulary. A linear inequality is one variable. An inequality such as x is greater than or equal to 3 or 2y plus 7 is less than 4, meaning they're not equal. Or they could be equal and greater than or less than, but they're inequalities. And the solution of an inequality in one variable, the value of that variable makes that inequality true. Solution of an inequality in one variable, A, value of the variable that makes the inequality true. What does that mean? Well, if you graph the inequality, you're going to get a shade. You're going to see different types of shades, and I'll show you some of that in a minute. Compound inequality, two simple inequalities that are joined by and or. Meaning you might have two inequality equations that you can lay on one board and they'll overlap, and you'll find some commonalities. That's where the and or comes in. Now, transformations, producing equivalent inequalities. Add the same number to both sides. This is what you need to do when you're trying to simplify these inequalities. Okay, when you're transforming them, you're going to add the same number to both sides. You're going to subtract the same number from both sides of the inequality symbol. Multiply both sides by the positive number. Divide both sides by the positive number. Now, here's where the trick comes in. When you multiply by a negative number, when you multiply it by a negative number, you then reverse the inequality. And the same thing goes with division. If you divide by a negative number, you have to reverse the inequality. Because by changing the inequality, multiplying it, you've now brought it in the other direction, turned it the other direction with the negative number. Anyway, that's what that's about. Okay, so we're going to start with a good one right here. We're going to start with 5x plus 7 is greater than negative 3. Okay, now we're not going to do any negatives just a minute, but we are going to do those. So just kind of hang tight here. Now, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take this number here, and just like this is an equation, but instead of an equal sign, we have an inequality sign. Oops, this software thinks I'm scribbling it out. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit a -7 on both sides. And then when I draw a line here, this becomes -10, and this is still a greater than symbol. This right here is gone because +7 -7 is 0, of course. So we're left with 5x. So now we're going to divide by 5. I don't know why that software does that, but it does it every time. Divide by 5, and when we divide by 5, we get x is greater than -2. Now, if you were to draw this on a number line, I hope you can see that number line. Sure can. Okay, so we start here, we'd have 0, and then you'd have -1, -2, -3, and then we'll put, just for the heck of it, I'll put a 1, 2, and 3 over here. We're not really going to go into that area. Now, if this is greater than, now, whenever you have, here's the thing about greater than. So when you have a greater than, when you have a greater than symbol, if it will write. Why is it not writing? What the heck is going on here? It's working. All right, let's see. If you have a greater than symbol, you're going to draw an open circle on the number line. If you have a greater than or equal to, it's going to be a closed circle. And I'm going to show you how you do this. You come over here where it shows -2, because x is greater than -2. You're going to draw an open circle. And then, let's do it in red. Let's do that in red. We're going to draw an open circle. And then we're going to draw a line going straight through. That means everything on this number line is greater than -2. That's what that means. And that is how you solve an inequality with a variable on one side. Now, that means x. Anywhere on this line is what x equals. Greater than -2. All solutions are real, and the number's greater than -2. If it had been a greater than or equal to sign, we would have put a solid number, put a solid there. Okay? That is example number 1. Okay, and now we go to example number 2. Example 2. And this one is going to start off with let's make it black this time. You have 2x minus 2, and that is greater than or equal to. Now remember that. Remember what I was telling you about greater than or equal to? It would have been a solid line. I don't know why that went away, but it would have been a solid line. So we're going to look at this one. Watch how this one works. Is greater than or equal to 3x plus 1. Okay? Now, we have to solve for x, and we can do it in several different ways. I'm going to go ahead, watch what happens. I'm going to do it a different way so we can, so I want to show you a little trick. I'm going to subtract 3x on this side and subtract 3x on this side. That way the x will stay on this side. And we'll go to the next one. Now that becomes a -x minus 2 is greater than or equal to, and this is gone, 1. So then I'm going to add 2. So let's get a different color so we can see where the steps are. So now I'm going to add 2 here and add 2 here. And then this number is going to become -x is greater than or equal to 1 plus 2. That's going to be 3. Now, here's the ticker. Here's the kicker. I got a negative number right here. Do you see that negative number? See the negative right here? That number has got to be changed to a positive number. And how do you change a negative number to a positive number? Well, you're going to divide by -1 and divide by -1. Now, here's the real kicker. Because I divided, remember the rules, because I divided by a negative number, I reverse the inequality. So here we go. Now this thing is going to be like this. It's going to be, let's put it in a different color. Let's put green. It's going to be x is, now this symbol here, reverse it. Greater than or equal to -3. And now, that's how we know, and now that's what the answer is. And if we do it on a number line, it would be, let's see, we'll go 1. We'll put 0 here, -1. Now this is important. I want you to see what happens here. -3. Throw a little -4 out there just for looks. Okay, and then we got 1, 2, and 3. I didn't have to go that far. So now, and we're going to color that with blue. Let's try blue here. Now, remember, this underline means it's a solid circle. So we're going to put a circle here at -3, and then we're going to color it in. And then we're going to draw this line all the way across. That means x is greater than or equal to -3. And that's how that problem is done. Okay? Let's try a different. I'll give you one for you to try. And then we'll just do one. Okay? We're gonna call it, we'll just do practice here for you. This is practice for you. Now, this is going to be -2x plus 5 is greater than -1. And here we go. What's going to happen here? This is going to go ahead and pause the video and try it yourself. Okay, now we're going to start again. I'm going to subtract 5, and that's going to give me -2x. 5 is gone, greater than -6. Now, what's going to happen here? I'm going to have to divide by -2. And don't forget, when you divide by a negative, you reverse the inequality. So let's go on back up here. And we're going to divide by -2. Let's make that red. Divide by -2. Divide by -2. And that's going to give me x. Reverse the inequality, going back this way. And this becomes a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So it's a +3. And if we were to draw it on a number line, it would be, this would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll give 1. This is -1, by the way. -2, -3. I'm just putting too many. And I'm gonna use blue to. So we come back here, and it's x is less than 3. So there's no underline, so it's going to be an open circle. And then we do draw the number this way. And all the numbers, all the way to the left of this, all the numbers are going to be greater. Going to be less than +3. So then there's your graph. Okay? And that's all we have for this that I think, let me think if I got another one I can try, which would be kind of fun. We'll come back. This will be part 1, and we're going to go try, because the limit, I try to keep these things limited to like 15 minutes. We're going to go ahead and do part 2, and we'll be talking about the solving the and compound and the or compound inequalities. But as for now, that's the end. And thank you for watching.